Hi, this is Meghan Bass-Petti, and this will be a 20-minute yoga class for a morning wake-up when you're feeling a little stiff or a little sore. So come to a seated position or lying down on your back, one hand over your belly, one hand over your heart, closing your eyes or softening your gaze, tuning into how you're feeling this morning, noticing any areas of stiffness or tension, letting your hands rest on your legs, anywhere that's comfortable, and then switch the cross of your legs, reaching the arms up on an inhale, exhale and twist to your left, letting the neck be soft, letting the chin fall wherever feels best for your neck, if that's lower towards your shoulder or more parallel to the floor. You may even want to turn the chin down towards the shoulder and then lift it back up a few times. Releasing back to the center. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, gently twist to your right. Again, noticing how the neck feels on this side. Taking any position with the chin that feels comfortable or moving the chin slowly up and down. And coming back to center. Coming over onto hands and knees. Wrists under your shoulders, knees right under your hips. Taking a few cat-cows. So you can tuck your toes under, getting a nice stretch of the feet. As you exhale into your cat, tucking the toes under, pressing into the balls of your feet. Inhale as you look forward. Exhale, round and pull your belly button to your spine. And here I'm demonstrating if it's uncomfortable to be on your hands for your wrists, just make fists with your hands and stay up on your fists. And releasing back to neutral. Walk your left foot back, press into your heel, and come down onto your forearms. So just stretching back through your left leg, and coming up onto your hands. Swing your right foot out behind your right knee, stepping your left foot out to side plank. Keeping your right knee down, reaching up with your left arm, maybe turning the gaze up towards your hand. And then pressing into your right hand, reach all the way up and over, stretching your right arm up over your head, letting your left arm and hand just softly fall onto your left leg. Again, turning the head whichever way feels best for the neck. Making sure you're not pressing down into your knee. And then slowly come back down, bringing your hands down and stepping back to neutral. Drop to your forearms again, step back with your right foot, press into your heel. You can always take a few little rocks here, front to back. And then swing your left foot out to the side, step back with your right foot, coming into side plank with your left hand down under your shoulder, right hand reaches up. And again, you can look up towards your right hand or look down towards the mat. And then press into your bottom hand, sweep up and over, let your right hand softly fall into your right leg. Left arm reaches up and overhead, looking up under that arm or down towards your right foot. Taking all these movements very softly and gently as you're waking up this morning. And then coming back to neutral, bringing your hands back down, stepping your right knee in. And I'm demonstrating here with blocks. If you'd like to use blocks underneath your hands, on the lowest setting, step back to downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet a few times. So you don't have to use blocks if you don't have them, or if you'd like, you can always use books. Starting to get just a little warm up through the legs, pressing back into your palm of your hands to broaden the shoulders, finding length in the tailbone. And then walk your hands or your blocks back to your feet, hanging in a forward fold. You can always turn your blocks up onto the highest setting for a little more support. Letting your low back find a little loosening, a little sway side to side, soft bend in the knees. You can always hold opposite elbows here as well. And then slowly roll all the way up. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, release the arms down. And bringing your hands to your low back, fingers facing down. Start to lift the heart up, all the way up towards the ceiling, and then just little mini back bend. So no huge arch in the low back, making sure the back bend stays in the upper back as much as possible. Dropping the head back only if that feels okay for the neck. And then bringing the palms forward, standing in mountain. Inhale, reach up. Maybe take another little back bend, and exhale, soften the knees, folding all the way down. And inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, soften and fold. Inhale, halfway lift again. Exhale, fold. Letting the spine wake up nice and slow, halfway lift, and fold down. And then walking the blocks back forward, or if you're on your hands, walking your hands forward, finding your downward facing dog, and then reach your right leg up. Slowly step the right foot all the way up by the right hand, dropping the left knee, and bringing your hands up to your thigh if that feels okay to do so. You can always leave them down on the blocks or the floor. Maybe reaching the arms all the way up, grabbing a hold of the right or left wrist with the right hand and stretching over to your right. Breathing into your left side ribs as you stretch over. And release the hands back down. Lift your back knee up. Maybe place your blocks on their highest setting or bring your hands to your thigh so that you can come up to a high lunge nice and slow. Circling the arms forward and all the way around and back. Mobilizing through the shoulders. If you find your balance is challenged here, you can always scoot your right foot over to the right, making a little bit wider base, or just circle one arm at a time and hold on to the wall or a chair. And clasping your forearms behind your back or your wrists or your hands. Draw the hands down if the hands are clasped. Find that opening through the heart again. And release the hands. Inhale them up. And exhale, bring them back down either to your blocks or to the floor. If you're bringing them to the blocks, place them on the lowest setting and step back to downward facing dog. Gently reach the left leg all the way up to three-legged dog and step it forward, helping it if you need to step forward. Dropping your right knee down, finding your low lunge. So keeping the hands down, bringing them to your thigh, or maybe reaching all the way up. Grabbing a hold gently onto your right wrist with your left hand and stretching up and over to your left. Again, feeling that sensation in the right side of the spreading between the ribs. Nice, smooth, steady breath. And release the hands all the way back down to the blocks. Tuck the back toes under, lift the knee, When you find your grounding, bring your hands to your thigh. You can always keep them here or lift them all the way up. Again, if you need more balance, you can always scoot your left foot over to the left, just making some big circles with the arms again to the back. So inhale forward and exhale as the arms sweep to the back. And then bringing the hands up on your last one, clasping your opposite forearm behind your back or wrist, or opposite thumb on top if you clasp your hands. Stretching the hands down towards your tailbone if you have the clasp, finding that little lift in the heart. Again, no huge arch in the low back. And inhale the arms up and exhale, setting them back down to the blocks on the lowest height or the floor, stepping all the way back to a soft downward dog, and dropping the knees, finding a child's pose. So you can always bring the knees wider here. And then coming back to your tabletop. Lift up and back to downward dog, pedal through your feet, soften your knees. Finding length in your spine, maybe finding a deep bend in both knees. And then as you look forward, walk, step, or even hop up to the front if you're feeling like you have that energy right now. And find your forward fold again. So if you're using the blocks, you can always turn them up to that highest height. Noticing how the body feels as you've been moving for this amount of time so far. Are you feeling any opening in the low back and the hamstrings? Slowly roll up all the way to stand. Sweep the arms up on an inhale. Find that little mini back bend in the upper back. And exhale, release the back bend, soften the knees and fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, soften the knees and fold. And if you're using the blocks, turning them back down onto the lowest setting, stepping back to downward facing dog again. And then dropping the knees, sitting back to a child's pose. You can always keep your toes tucked under to stretch your feet a little bit more here. And then lifting up and back to downward facing dog, pedal the legs again. Pedaling through your heels, pressing one heel down at a time. Maybe coming up onto the balls of the feet or the toes. And inhale, lift the right leg up, and exhale, step it forward up by your right hand. Turning the blocks up to the highest setting if you're using them. Starting to straighten your right leg, so you might want to take your right thumb, tuck it underneath your hip bone so you can draw your right hip underneath you as you soften over the right leg. So you can keep that right knee bent as much as you need. No strain, no hyperextension in the knee. And then placing your left hand on the block, on the floor, or on your shin. Bring your right hand to your hip, roll your right shoulder open, and start to do a gentle twist to the right. And release back to your block or the floor. Start to walk your hands or your blocks around to the wide edge of your mat, turning your toes forward or slightly inward. And from a wide forward fold, walk your hands or your blocks as far forward as you can, so you're in almost like a very wide stance, downward facing dog. So leaning back into the hips, finding that stretch through your shoulders, through your upper back, all the way under your arms. Returning to that softness of your breath. And start to walk your hands back in, right underneath your shoulders. Lifting up with your hands to your hips. And then turning your right toes towards the top of the mat, finding a warrior two. Left foot parallel with the back edge of the mat. Fingers reaching outwards away from you. Maybe looking forward over your front fingertips, thinking where you would like this day to go. And then straightening the right leg, maybe shortening your stance by heel-toeing the back foot in once and reaching up and back, finding a reverse triangle, looking up at your hand or down at your back foot. Returning back through warrior two. And then again, if you're using the blocks, bring them to the front of the mat. Turn your back toes forward and step back to downward facing dog. Blocks on the lowest height. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, squeeze it forward, stepping your left foot up by your right hand. Bringing the blocks up to the highest height if you're using them. Starting to straighten your left leg, tucking your left hip back underneath you so hips stay level, and softly fold over your left leg. So you may notice that this side feels a little bit tighter or a little bit looser than the other side. Again, making sure you're not pressing down into the knee. And then if you're using the block, placing it on the outside of the left foot, bringing your left hand to your left hip and roll the shoulder open as you twist gently to your left. So in this revolved pose, making sure you're not getting any pain or pinching in your hips or your back, taking all of this very gently and walking your blocks forward a little bit and then around to the right side, finding a forward fold on the wide edge of your mat. This time, instead of walking the hands as far away from you forward as you can, walk them underneath you. So you may even want to flip your hands around so that your fingertips are facing backwards, or just hold on to your blocks if you have them, letting your head relax, letting your back lengthen. Maybe shifting the weight slightly into the balls of your feet, engaging your quadriceps but not locking the knee or knees. And then coming up halfway, bring your hands to your hips, slowly rise all the way up. Bending your left knee, finding your warrior two. Reaching out through your fingertips, having that nice wide stance, so you may have needed to shift your stance to a little bit wider. And then straightening the front leg, heel toe the back foot in once or twice, reach forward with your left hand and then up and back, letting your right hand fall softly to your back leg. Looking up under your arm or down towards your foot. And then release back through your warrior two. Bring your hands to your blocks if you're using them. Turn your back foot forward, placing your hands down on the blocks on the lowest height or on the mat, stepping back to downward facing dog, pedaling out the legs, and then dropping the knees, sinking back to child's pose. And then release from tabletop through plank, so you can always stay up with your knees lifted or just drop the knees down. And then sink back to child's pose on an exhale. Inhale, lift up to downward dog. Pedal out the feet. And start to walk the hands back towards your feet. Find your forward fold. Slowly roll up, belly button engaged towards your spine. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. One last little slight back bend. Exhale, hands to the heart. Maybe closing your eyes here, noticing how you feel. You can always take Shavasana here or just move on with your day or on with your practice. We're going to close our practice standing today. Thumbs touch the eyebrow center and thumbs touch the heart. From my heart to yours, hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.